Here at Hastings County, in the last week of July, we got not just one, not just two, but three different TTRPG products. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of those in this video. Hello, everybody, and thank you all for joining me here again today on Hastings County for another TTRPG talk. This video series takes a look at tabletop role-playing games, related materials, makes suggestions for your own games, and takes a look at some of my own materials, and world building designs and all kinds of stuff like that. So what we're going to be doing today is this is one of three different videos that I'm going to be releasing this week, taking a look at essentially their unboxing videos, taking a look at materials that I recently just got. Literally all three of these arrived in the mail in like the last 3 or 4 days. It's been when they say Christmas in July, they're not kidding. And these are all things that are all coming from different crowdfunding or Kickstarter campaigns that have just been arriving. So it's a complete fluke that all of this stuff is landing on my lap all at once. This is the Break RPG. Just to give a basic description of exactly what this is. So this is supposed to be a sort of quick to learn, easy to play sort of RPG, heavily inspired by manga, as you can probably tell here. Manga, anime, classic JRPGs or NES sort of era video games and various things like that. The rules itself are based off of D20, as you can tell there. So yeah, and I really like the fact that they, of course, included the symbology and stuff here on the front. Yeah, when they were originally releasing it, they were advertising it as, oh, we're going to be putting in a bunch of all of these sort of stuff that includes things that you would expect to find in a JRPG, whether it's like an early MMO or things that came out later. So of course, this isn't focused so heavily on combat like you might see in, like, let's say, a traditional like in an OSR game or a traditional sort of D&D game where the focus really is combat really heavily. But here instead we've got more journey rules, survival rules. There's a crafting system, social rules, especially for negotiations and stuff. And also there's basically like a ranking system where you're essentially becoming a legend as you develop through the game. Yeah, so of course, as you can see here on the front, we have the fact that it mentions that these are the core rules. They should be doing another Kickstarter or something relatively soon. In order to create sort of tutorial adventure and also additional rules for creating adventuring teams, which definitely sounds interesting. Of course, this is the actual physical manual, but you can also get the this in PDF, and again, it's going to look pretty much exactly the same as what you see here. Yeah, of course, here on the front, we got, this is a hardback book. I believe there might have been a paperback version. I don't remember. But in any case, yeah, this is a hardback book. Again, full color, glossy paper all the way through. So the rules and the writing were done by Ronaldo Mandrian, and the editing, design, and art were done by Carlo Tertaglia, who is also known on the internet as Grey Wizard Press. Carlo is the one who's actually, I believe, hosting the Kickstarter for the adventure and expanded rules for this. So yeah, and with some additional editing from Lee William. And of course, here we have special thanks for several people who are involved in playtesting, supporting them, and so on and so forth. And again, it has their website here. Before we go any further on the inside, of course, here on the outside, you can see, obviously, we have some very stereotypical looking sort of JRPG sort of character, anime based on RPG sort of style characters. We have some sort of Oni over here. A little guy, wizard person over here are sort of headstrong heroine who's probably getting in way too deep, of an alien-looking cat, and somebody who clearly got Isekai'd into this world. So hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about them in a minute. And then on the back here, we, of course, have the little blurb and their website. And, of course, this is a collaboration of Grey Wizard Press, which, of course, as I mentioned, is Carlo, and Naldobin Games, which would be the sort of press name for Ronaldo. So, in any case, I'll go ahead and describe this for you here. It says here the sun machine. This is like a little blurb just to kind of give you some flavor. This is an in-world sort of description. This is not describing the game. So it says here the sun machine no longer orbits the outer world. Thus, the planet is divided into hemispheres of night and day. Well, it says day and night, but anyway, a few young and ambitious nations are emerging and are attempting to reboot civilization, but most people struggle with day-to-day survival. Ancient knowledge is being rediscovered and weaponized by both the well-intentioned and the nefarious. Creatures, intelligent and bestial, prey on the weak and the vulnerable. A handful of brave and impetuous adventurers wander the planet, discovering forgotten truths, performing great deeds, and shaping our outer world's fragile future. So yeah, this kind of sounds like a lot of different JRPGs that you see out there, especially ones that are based on sort of again the sort of American or European sort of fantasy fiction with also some combinations of like this feels like it also has elements of like Nausicaa of the Wind or some other movies and stuff like that. So we'll flip this over and crack her open. So just to give you an idea of how big this book is, because oh my god, is this big. There's 471 pages in here. Our basic thing, table of contents. So we have a section here that's just talking about the section that only talks about characters is like 209 pages long. Well, no, it's actually 200 pages long. My goodness. So yeah, this is just talking about creating a character, the calling for your character, the species of your character. So here, there's our Isekai'd. It says here, this is a human who's a dimensional stray. We have the homeland and the histories for the different characters, traits, quirks, finishing details, gear, character ranks. So I'm guessing that's basically like leveling up and stuff like that. And then, of course, we have a whole section here talking about the rules. We have elements discussing checks and contests, journeying rules, exploration rules, negotiation rules, fighting, of course, perils. So this would be, I'm assuming, like getting harmed and injured and non-combat injuries and stuff like that. Downtime, including a section discussing social bonds and reputation. Good. Crafting rules, which this is a good, well-developed chunk, including procedures, creating imbued gear, so the magical gear or powered gear, materials and additives, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, here in this section here, we're talking about the basic description of the world. We have a whole section here, obviously also discussing adversaries that you might find in that world. And then here we have a section discussing things for the game master. So this would be your usual game master guide stuff, including how to run the game, creating adventures, creating characters for game master characters or NPCs, adventure sites, maps, encounters, sagas, so on and so forth. And of course, we have an appendix here in the back with almost 20 pages worth of stuff, including, of course, the index, but also cheat sheets for crafting, downtime, perils, fighting, negotiation, exploration, journey, checks and contacts, basic game basics, all the stuff I just mentioned. There's a list of gear, and then, of course, we have 2 character sheets, one of which is filled out to show you how to do that. So that's a good touch. That's a good touch to include a filled out character sheet just to remind people how that works. So as we flip through here, you can see every single page in here is a nice, good quality, glossy paper. And we have a good use of color. Also, you'll see here on the corner, we have 4 or 3 on each page of the section. We have 3 dice here in the corner, a blue die, a red die, and a green die. I'm assuming, They're different on every page. So I'm assuming essentially we have built-in D20s into our book. So you literally can just like open to a page. 17. That is very interesting. I did not. I missed somehow that was going to be in here. But obviously, you can see here there's awesome art all throughout this. Very anime-esque. Um, has a very strong feel to it. Um, it's very, very good. So yeah, here we have, these are all different potential adversaries. So there's a war drone, more drones, um, the chosen one, who is the hero of a completely different story, uh, magical users, unfortunate souls. So not everything, various forms of demons, or those, actually these feel, yeah, these feel a bit like um, different kinds of like undead and stuff. It says they're powered by dark mana. Um, Goop. So we have our slime characters, uh, flying characters, the battle butler, or murder maids, so on and so forth. Very interesting. All right, so yeah, here's our character sheet. Yeah, so here we have basically our aptitudes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aptitudes, uh, which this one right here, might, seems to be basically strength. Deafness is your sneaky sneak, or manual dexterity and stuff like that. Grit, this is sort of like will, or your will to press on and persist. Insight, which is noticing, knowing, and remembering, which is interesting. Aura, which is how you persuade, intimidate, and terrify. So this is essentially like your charisma. Uh, so we have a name, calling, rank of your calling, your species, your size, your homeland, languages that you know, history, and purviews. So basically it says your history grants you a minor bonus, a +2, on certain things. So that's good. Yes, our background gives us a bonus. That's awesome. Here we have a place to describe our gear, including what we're actively wearing, quirks and abilities, wealth, which is stones, coins, and gems. So 100. So this is a decimal scale. So 100 stones is a coin, and 100 coins is a gem. Yay, we're avoiding coppers. We're avoiding the copper, silver, gold weirdness going on. Our speed rating, defense rating, hearts, which is health, or items, things that are protecting you from injury, and your attacks. Here, your allegiance. So there's a dark allegiance and a light allegiance. And then there's a checkbox here that describes exactly how you're aligned and gifts that you're getting because of that, and social bonds and reputation here. So here we have a character who's drawn out already. Flipping back over here, we'll just take a look at some of the basics of this. So again, this is talking about character creation. So we'll flip through our callings real quick, just so we have a basic idea of what we got here. So our calling apparently gives us our starting aptitudes, our base attack, our base defense, our speed, and the number of hearts, or basically hit points, we have. Oh, and over here, of course, we've also got a nice little thing that tells us what's on this page. So that's good. So we have the Factotum, which apparently this is a person who, it says here, we elevate everyday skills to almost magical levels. Your motto is to be prepared, focus on the details, and don't be a hero. More can be found on page 16. So here it actually gives you the basic descriptions of them, as opposed to here where we're just talking about the quick start info. We have the sneak, the champion, the raider, which it says here, you find victory through speed and precision. Even the mightiest foes fear your fluid and precise combat power. So this seems to me like your dex-based fighter. The sneak is your rogue. The champion is your it says here, is a valiant fighter who favors force and direct action. Why pick the locked door when it can just be kicked off its hinges? So this seems to me like you're not necessarily barbarian, but you definitely your strength-focused fighter. Your Factotum is your not fighter. The Battle Princess here says you are a wielder of bright magic and a stalwart defender of the things that you hold dear. So this feels to me kind of like a good sort of paladin character, sort of. The Sage is our mage. The Murder Princess is our dark magic character. So this is kind of like your um, this again feels like a paladin, but like an Oathbreaker paladin or like a dark paladin, or I don't remember exactly what they just the champion of darkness, whatever. I don't remember how they describe that. And then here we have the heretic, which this is fitful sleep, dreadful, Squire Marlowe. You read from the blasphemous script to call forth forbidden. Sometimes they serve and sometimes they chastise. Okay, we'll need to take a look a bit more on that because I'm not 100% sure exactly what that is. So again, opportunistic butcher for those of you who want to do dungeon meshi, I guess. Um, all the weapons in it. I love the fact that we keep using all of these logos. This is all of this the symbols in here make it so much easier in reality for as long as you know what they are to kind of figure that out. Our raider, which again is our more dex-based fighter and archer type, our ranger. So of course here again, there's some things we can't use, but there's a lot that we can. And our heretic here, this seems like a summoner. Yeah, now the more I look at it, this seems like a summoner. So this is like your spirit based shamanistic, more sort of a summoning magical ability. A magical ability person, and again, a lot of these summons that they have are more sort of dark or evil seeming characters, like all of these guys, and our dragon and stuff like that. So, species. Let's see, what species do we have here? We have native humans. We have dimensional stray humans, which I already mentioned. It says here Chib. Chib is apparently diminutive, charming, and occasionally ruthless. So these seem like your halflings. We have a Tenembrate. So it says here you thrive in profound darkness. Some people believe that you were human once, but were warped by a sunless existence. So these seem to me more like your human-formed Oni or evil spirits or maybe tieflings might be a good comparison there for this one. We have our Rainekel, which they're cat people. I mean, you know, Prometheans, which it says here, you are one of the chosen, perfected beings. Your immense physical presence intimidates smaller folk in the outer world. So basically, these are big, rough dudes. We have goblins, which of course are more like your JRPG style goblins, dwarves, elves, biomechoids. So it says here you're a relic of the past, neither human nor machine. You have awoken in an unfamiliar world without a purpose or direction. You want to belong, but you never can. And one here that is interesting and is not sort of like your standard fantasy or RPG sort of species that I can see here is this Grun. So it says here, you are large, brutish, and irrepressible. Your robust frame can soak up damage, and your powerful limbs can dish them out. I'm going to flip over to that page because I'm interested in learning a little more about them. So yeah, again, our Tebes, these are essentially halflings. Our Tenembrates, again, these feel to me like basically like Shadow Touch or Tieflings or something like that. By Nico. There's the Promethean. Apparently they hatch from eggs. Oh, here's our Grun. So yeah, these feel to me like so it says here they are often misjudged because of their intimidating power and rowdy nature. So these are essentially our kind of this must have been that sort of that character I thought maybe was an Oni on the front. I guess these kind of are like Oni. But they feel a lot to me like, oh, I don't remember their names. The giants that exist in um, Wheel of Time. Those guys. I can't remember their name, but it reminds me a little bit of that. But here we have homelands and histories. So you determine exactly what your homeland is. So here we have the ones in the dark, and here's ones on the these are ones more like on the dark side of the planet. Here are ones on the more light side of the planet. And then the Buried Kingdom is underground. And then each of these kingdoms has a history, which you can roll here, whether you are an outcast, a commoner, or an elite from your society. So here in the Twilight Meridians, you might be an orphan shinobi, or a medicine peddler, or an archive researcher, or so on and so forth. And then here are examples of scripts that you can find in each of these places. That's interesting. So it's like a language if you want to try to make your writing look like it. So it describes the language, but then also gives you how it's written. So like here's the Fade song, Dark Tongue. That obviously it feels very derivative of like Sanskrit. The Blazing Gardens, Bright Speech feels very Greek to me. Hoshiban, I mean, it looks like rain, but essentially this is cuneiform, but all going in the same direction. The Buried Kingdoms, and the Outer Worlds. So these would be people who are from here. So if you have a character who's from here, these are different things you might. Maybe you're NEET, which for those of you who don't know, NEET stands for not in education, employment, or training. Basically, someone who is unemployed, not going to school, and not in a vocational training program or an internship. Yeah. Outfits and costumes, illumination, maps. Those are all different other types of equipment. Oh, wait. What's this? Other world pocket devices. So you can literally have a video game in your role-playing game. Oh, God. And then, of course, here we have followers, which this, again, is just like hirelings and the older styles of Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Scamps, scholars, guides, custrels. I guess these are like combat assistants. Animal companions and mounts, pack beasts, so on and so forth. Vehicles. Oh, whoa. Renting out or buying properties and paying for room and board and stuff like that. All that kind of things. Character ranks. So these seem to go, at least based on this, seem to go from like 1 to 10. Gifts that you can get for having a lot of bright points, allegiance, gifts or indications that you can gain as you get dark points. I don't know if you can see that, but I have a little bit of blue on my hands from flipping through these pages. I'm guessing this blue is, oh, I know what this blue is. The blue is okay, so the edging, the ink they put on the edging is coming off of my hands, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. Combat against colossal creatures, very, very good. They're definitely important. Different ailments that you can get. Jellified. Oh, that's unfortunate. Downtime, of course, things you can do on downtime. It mentions, of course, crafting, healing injuries, identifying things, preparing for things, recruiting characters, managing your reputation, doing research for ahead, training companions, going on your own unique adventures, creating. So here are the rules for crafting. So there are crafting rules and disciplines. Then you, of course, you make a roll just like you would if you were doing a check or whatever. And our crafting disciplines include alchemy, artificing, cooking, forging, gadgeteering, which is basically making electronic devices, it seems, or anything highly detailed. So it says here like delicate enchanted timepieces and stuff. Tailoring, repairing and customizing gear, crafting imbued gear, some magical stuff. Rules about materials, different types of materials. Interesting. So here we're looking at our world. So here is the basic early history of the world. Here is how the world is right now, the different places in it that we'll be describing over here, and the environments that you can find there. Yes. definitely a whole lot in this book. It is really big. It is, oh my goodness. Okay, I just want to make it clear, just in the process of flipping through this book and reading through some small basic sections of it, in the process of the video, in the raw format, I'm already at 40 minutes. So I'm definitely going to need to cut this down some. But anyway, so yeah, this is Break RPG. Again, this is a basically your JRPG, your electronic JRPG in paper form. It definitely has a feel of a lot of those. Again, this is 470 pages in the PDF, and this is obviously humongous. And art throughout, good design, random D20 tables. This is a really good. And yeah, so anyway, this was nominated for Best Family Game and Best Layout and Design for the 2024 Ennies. I'd be hard pressed to find something that has a better layout or design than this. That's come out recently. So I haven't looked at who else competing against them, but yeah, I would say that's a pretty easy win there. I'm hoping. It certainly seems like it would be a good fit. But anyway, so yes. Again, this is the hardback. It's also available as a PDF. Definitely check it out. And yeah, links, of course, can be found down below for any things that you want to take a look at here. Thank you again for joining us here on Hessens County. Again, this is one of 3 videos that I'm going to be creating and releasing over the course of the next week or so, looking at different games that all literally landed in my mailbox the last week of July. So definitely check out those videos if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. If the videos haven't come out yet, definitely subscribe so you don't want to miss them. Have a good zone. Don't forget to rate your itch purchases, and I'll see you around on the internet.